to the Teaching and Learning Committee meeting for May 7th, 2019. Mr. McCaffrey is excused tonight for some other reasons and will not be here for the meeting. And for an interim basis, we're on a committee of 4, so we will see about the rest of that in the future. First, Stacy, has the meeting been properly posted?
Yes.
It has, okay, thank you. And has any citizens signed up to meet or to speak to us? No, okay, thank you. We then have Bright Lights tonight, presented by North High School, and I assume, is Christy in charge?
I'm just kicking it up.
Well, that's all we want you to do. We want to hear from the kids.
All right, good evening. This evening, I brought with me 4 of our finest students. We have Michaela, Atalia, Desmond, and Damian. Tonight, they're going to speak to you about a new program at North, which is an academic success program. And along with us, I've brought the Mrs. Wonderful, Jackie Valde, who is new to our building, or excuse me, was new to our building in the fall of 2018. So this is a program in which she has started, and there has been tremendous success at North. So I'm going to turn it over to her and let her explain a little bit more about this program, and then you're going to hear from each one of the students. They're going to explain some of the struggles that they faced prior to coming into the school year, and then where they are currently with the assistance of this program that they have been a part of.
Awesome, thank you. I have a picture show for you. This is a little bit about the evolution of our program. We started off, the focus was students earlier in their high school career. For 18 years, many of you already know this, I worked in alternative high school in exclusively a senior program. And the idea was to catch students earlier in their high school career to basically put the senior program less necessary. Always going to need it, but to help kids stay on track. So the idea was to work with students in their classrooms or with their classroom teachers rather, to help them complete formative, summative work successfully. In semester 2, we added Edmentum coursework for credit recovery. Edmentum is the new permutation of Play-Doh software, which Waukesha has used for at least 20 years. It's easy to use and customize. It has been aligned to our standards, both state, local, and national. It's research-based, and it's been very handy. In fact, one of the people sitting here, that is Michaela, has finished 3 courses this semester. So if you put your mind to it, the goal is to complete and accelerate credit acquisition so that you stay on track. The split or the division of the students that we have served at North. In September, I had 17 referrals. By semester, I have 57, and we keep rising with students. And it has really separated out sort of in an interesting way. We serve everything, freshmen through seniors, and some of them are still doing course support work, but many are using Edmentum. There are 4 students and 4 different stories. So I will work with the screen. I'm going to start with Desmond. I know you're going to love me for this. But Desmond is a junior at Waukesha North. I'm going to let him talk a little bit about his experience. Yeah, sure.
Hello, I'm Desmond Washington, and so before I started Edmentum and before I started this course, I was really struggling in formatives, like getting formatives, so the little stuff, but summatives weren't really a problem. But now joining Edmentum, they're mainly focusing on having me do formatives and doing little stuff to get to summatives and getting through the courses, because there's each course has a different selection, so getting through all the formatives and leading up to the summatives is a big help.
Desmond is a junior, and now we have a senior here. This is Michaela Lindsay.
Hi. So I recently just transferred to Waukesha North during February 11th of this year. I came from an art school which means that we had less time for serious academics and stuff like that, and had to make space for like dancing and stuff like that. So I didn't have the room and space to be taking like human geography and my physical education classes that was needed for me to graduate. And when I transferred here, I was able to get those classes in on time, because if I had not, I would not be graduating right now. Yeah. And so transitioning in, I had to start off with about 2 classes just to get me in a position where I was able to graduate. And so now I've already finished 3 courses, which means I'm going to be graduating on time. I'm going to be graduating with more credits than necessary. And I'm going to be transitioning into the universities now. I'm going to be studying diagnostic medical sonography, which is working with ultrasound work and stuff like that. And so this really has put me in a very good position and put me ahead of where I could have been.
Awesome. Thank you. And this, thank you, push it forward. This is Damian Stakowiak, Jr.
Before being enlisted into the Edmentum program, I was in an online school where I would get mostly D's or C's. And after transferring to Waukesha, I ended up getting all A's and mostly B's with the help of a lot of my teachers, because when I was in online, the teachers there weren't as inclusive with their students. So being here with Mrs. Valdi and some of the other students, it's really inclusive, and they make you feel welcomed almost.
I always worry. I have a really big voice. I was afraid I would scare him, because he's used to quiet things, but he's done all right. And Italia Stinger, last but not least, a sophomore.
Hi, I'm Italia Stinger. Before I enlisted in this program, I was actually at East Alternative, and I was there because I made some not so good decisions freshman year, and I was behind in my credits, and there wasn't probably going to be a way I was going to be able to graduate on time. And since I enlisted in this program, I really like it because it helps me be independent. So on those days when maybe I'm having a harder time, I can get help from Ms. Savaldi, or I can go on my own. And this program has kind of like been a safe zone for me, where I can go and I know I can actually get ahead and get my work done. And ever since I've been in this program, I've gotten all my credits back that I need, and I'm recommended for AP classes, and I'm going to be doing good for my GPA. I'm over 3.0 now, and before there wasn't going to be a chance I was going to be able to do that at all. And I owe it to the program.
I have to say it's been a lot of fun working with these students. I get up in the morning and I just can't wait to get into work. And after 30 years of teaching, that's a nice thing to be able to say. One of the unintended or didn't anticipate results of our program, we think, or at least it's the one thing that we've changed at North, was this program. The office has seen a reduction in referrals, which is kind of nice too. No one complains about that. Now, we do have goals, because we are constantly evolving, and I'm always looking for ways to improve. So I want a bit more structure and pacing. I know you all can read, so I won't go down all of it, but I would like to see students maybe grouped a little bit more. That would enable me to do some more direct instruction, but also I'd like to insert a parent-student orientation. Maybe not in September, I'm thinking August, before we start, so we all have an idea of what we're doing. You know what Madeline Hunter says, if you aim at nothing, you will hit it. So I don't want to do that. I do want to say one other thing. Beyond the graduation is not the only goal. We started this program. It was new at North. We're still finding our way, but in the process, we've been able to give students the opportunity to find their way. Too often, school districts give up on students, but it has been my experience that this school district does not. We have successful people here to celebrate as a result. These students and many others like them are finding success, their own path, because of you, the school board, and supportive administration. You have decided these kids are worth it, and they are. Thank you.
Wow. You're not done, Jackie. Let me just open this up by saying, Jackie, I've known you for a number of years, and
19.
this must be exciting to you.
It is. My joke is old dog, new tricks. I'm so excited. Yeah.
Well, and I think I want the four of you children or kids, whatever you want to call yourselves, to know, and you said it, this school board is very serious about helping kids that are struggling, because it is a big deal to us when we get to see one of you on stage for your diploma one day. And we go through that every year. All those school board members have the opportunity to be at one of the graduations and hand out diplomas. And I'll tell you, that's a big deal to us. And we see a lot of other during the course of a year, but when we get to be on stage with kids, particularly kids that we know have struggled a little bit, that's very heartwarming. And what the four of you told us, to me, was very important, and I'm glad to hear that. And I'm sure that Amanda and Greg might have some questions for you. Greg?
For any of you, could you tell me one or two things personally that you have done differently since you've been in this program? And then maybe a couple things outside of yourself that have contributed to your success, either teachers, a particular teacher, or something other than that. So personally, and then outside of yourself, what has contributed to your success? And that could be for anybody.
So, before going into the course, I was very I wouldn't work that much outside of class and take the time out of my day to do so. I felt like schoolwork was schoolwork, homework, I'll do it whenever. But going into this, I really stuck to it. I was dedicated to doing it outside of the classroom too, which is how I completed 3 courses in such a short amount of time. And because of Ms. Valdi, she made me feel very safe and comforted when I first came into the school. And very, she pushed me by being a mother figure in the classroom. So thank you for that.
I'm pretty much going to say the same thing. Miss Valdi was a big support system in this whole thing, and without her, I don't think it would have turned out the same way. So I'd be the outside source. And then personally, for me, I think it's just really caring about the class. I used to kind of just coast my way through classes, but with Edmentum classes, you really do have to take notes and care about them. So you have to dedicate more of your time of actually caring about the class. So it kind of makes you do it.
Thank you.
To tattle on Natalia, she told me if she gets a C, she feels like she's failed. She has really raised the bar on herself.
Amanda?
Yes, I think you sort of answered my question. It's Talia, correct? You had mentioned that this is a safe zone for you. What makes that different from the classes that you were in before, or maybe other classes? What creates that safety for you?
One, it makes it more of a safe zone because it's not as many people in there. You're getting that one-on-one help, and also Miss Valdi is involved in our other classes too, and she's always checking up on how we're doing and making sure that we're okay in there. So it's not just it's not only this class too. It's really, they worry about us as a whole, all of our classes, everything at school. They really worry about us as people.
Thank you.
Well, I've got a comment for Desmond. He's going to be surprised at this. You use the terminology, or the terms, formative and summative in your discussion with us. I want to compliment you on that because I think there's a lot of board members who are wondering for years, what do those two words mean? And you hit it, and I appreciated that.
Thank you.
So, anybody else had a question? Again, this was... we just love seeing such positive things when we're here among our meetings, because it's not always positive, but this was definitely positive, and I would congratulate all of you for what you shared with us. Thank you.
And I can see why it was a bright light presentation. You
Yeah,
guys are
bright
awesome. Congratulations. I'm really proud of you, as all the other board members and other people here are. You're beating the odds and making a difference. Thank you very much for all your extra efforts.
And gentlemen, smile. Congrats.
Yes.
Be proud of yourselves.
It's okay to be proud.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Congrats.
Thank you.
Thank you,
for
Jackie.
inviting us.
Thank you, Chrissy. Okay. That gets us through the general business stuff. We have several action items, 3 action items before us this evening. First, the minutes from our April meeting need to be approved. There's a motion
I'll make a move to approve the minutes as presented.
I'll second.
and seconded by Greg. Any questions, changes, discussion on the minutes?
Excuse me.
Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 3-0, Stacy. And Math Technology Supplemental Resources. Dan and Melissa. This is revisiting something for that we've been processing, so.
Yeah.
But doesn't hurt if you remind us.
All right. Dan and I are here tonight. Last month you heard from Rose and Dan Paczynski about our new math technology supports. Last year you approved 10 marks, and 10 marks is going out of business, so we conducted a pilot to look at some new programs to help supplement at our 4th and 5th grade. Out of that pilot, teachers and students ended up selecting Metific. So we're here tonight. I'm here on behalf of 4th and 5th grade to get approval for Metific to support in 4th and 5th grade for the next 2 years. We're going with a 2-year contract because that will put us on the same timeline with Dreambox for our kindergarten and 3rd grade that you approved last year for a 3-year contract. So I'm here for that.
And for speaking for middle school, 6th and 7th grade last year had a 1-year contract with ST Mathematics. And 8th grade stayed with the free version of 10 marks and looked at both ST Math as well as their online resources that are already within our Blackboard system. And ultimately, the 8th grade chose to stick with the resources that we currently have within our Blackboard system, while 6th and 7th grade would like to continue with ST Mathematics. So, speaking for 6th and 7th grade, we would like to ask that to be approved for ST Math moving forward for the next 2 years.
Just on that, so that contract ends?
So we signed a 1-year contract with the ability to roll it over into a 2-year contract for this year.
And that's what you
recommend? So for our purposes, it would be a brand-new 2-year agreement that we would enter into.
Okay. Now, I'm trying to reflect back to the last meeting we had. I don't even know if you were in on that discussion or not. Wasn't there one of them that they thought was not being used very much in the middle schools?
That was at 8th grade.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that was at 8th grade, and that's why the 8th grade teacher said, we're not using the program to that full amount, so they did not want to move forward with a paid program at that grade level.
Oh, they're not in on that
No,
part
they're
of
not
it.
in.
Okay.
So it's only 6th and 7th grade. 8th grade is going to continue using the resources we already have within the district.
Okay. Amanda or Greg, do you have any questions for them? I know we've heard about this at least twice before,
Yep.
so. Then this is an action item, if somebody would. Motion.
Question real fast.
Please.
Question, at the 4th and 5th grade levels, this is district-wide.
Correct.
Every teacher is planning to use this.
Correct, and it comes in it comes in Spanish, but it also comes in multiple other languages, so it will be used in our monolingual and dual language 4th and 5th grade classrooms.
So for the last couple of years, I've seen 10 marks being used by my 4th and 5th graders, so
Correct.
just want to make sure that this will also be continued to use on a regular basis too.
Yes, it will be
justify
replacing what you've seen with 10 marks, so you will see now, if it's approved, it will be Metific that you would see at those grade levels.
Great, thank you.
And financially, is it comparable to what we've been paying in the past? What, give or
It will be
take?
a cost saving, so.
Actually,
we'll
cost
be-
savings?
Yeah,
Well, that's good. then.
yeah, right?
And for us, the initial cost is a little bit higher, but the costs after this year go down significantly. So after the 2 years, if we continue with that, we'll continue to save money. It'll end up being a cost savings over a little bit longer time frame.
Okay. Okay. Greg?
Do students have access to those materials over the summer, or is it just during the school year?
No, students have access outside of the school day and in the summer as well.
Okay.
We used it when we go on vacation, and I'm like, what do I give my kids while we're gone? And teachers just put a few things on there, and
Yeah, that's great.
they keep up.
Somebody want to make a motion?
Oh, yeah.
I'll move to approve the recommendations for math technology supplemental resources as presented.
Second.
Second. Further questions or discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 3-0. You did it.
Thank you. And just so you know, now that it's been approved, we will be having Matific come at our Summer Institute. So our teachers will be having professional development opportunities with Matific.
Awesome.
And we'll likewise with ST Math, so.
Okay. Thank you. And thank Dan and Rose, too. Okay, third action item is approval of overnight field trip requests. We have 6 or 7 of them. Several are short, coming up quickly, and Stacy informed me that was really just getting certain groups caught up with where they're supposed to be, right? Is that a good way to put it? Yes. Yes. And the other 4 are a year out, and these are they're all based on being competitive issues. I think one of them is not. Which one? The
marching
trip
band.
that is not a competitive thing.
Right.
And all the rest of them are, or
Well, the cheer camp is
Oh.
not something they have to qualify for, and I believe the marching band is not either.
no? That's
But
yeah.
there are things that they usually participate in
Yeah,
annually.
they're common, yeah. And they're all relatively local.
Yes.
And on the competitive ones, that's covered for
Yes.
kids. And in the festivals, that's been arranged internally for their,
It's part of their band fees,
yeah,
and they do a lot of fundraising.
okay. So, anything you want to ask about any of these field trips?
No, good.
I think Stacy looked them over pretty deeply before we got them, so, and we appreciate that, by the way. So again, I'll be seeking a motion.
I'll move to approve the overnight field trip request as presented.
I'll second.
Seconded by Amanda. Further questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor of accepting the 7 field trips, approving the 7 field trips, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 3-0. Thank you, Stacy. Thanks for your help on that one. Okay. We have no information items, but we do have, but I think will probably be quite interesting, a report from AVID. Which brings us, Jessica. I did it again. You too. She's not even a Wagner anymore.
She's not, but I still call her a Wagner. All right, I wanted to give you a quick update in regards to AVID this year. It's been a really big year for us here in the school district of Waukesha. We went from 3 schools having the AVID system in place last year to 9 schools currently having it this year, and then next year we're looking at 13 of our schools. So as we talk tonight, just a few things. I know this was in your packet, but to clarify, when we talk AVID Elementary, we are talking school-wide. And AVID Elementary, we're really working on building student success skills. We're embedding with core, so writing, inquiry, collaboration, organization, and reading strategies into our lessons to increase student engagement. Working on those organizational skills of our students and creating community partnerships as well. A lot of those community partnerships are the high school students coming to the elementary and the elementary going up to the high school and talking about what it is to be a successful student when you're young so that you can thrive as a high school student. When we talk AVID Secondary, we'll talk about school-wide practices. Those are the practices that impact all of our students. And then we'll also talk about our AVID Elective students. Our AVID Elective students are students who tend to be underrepresented in the college-going population. They are selected to be part of that AVID Elective, which is part of their school day as an elective course. Typically, they start in 9th grade year at the high school and go until they're seniors together. Another part of AVID that's coming on board next year that is really exciting is Excel. That was in your packet, so there's more information there, but Excel is really designed for our long-term English language learners with the goal of them being an AVID Excel to acquire more academic language and a focus on literacy. And then by the time they enter 9th grade, they will move from AVID Excel to the AVID Elective. So a lot of different terms underneath AVID. So when I'm talking to people in the community and they ask, what is this AVID thing? I always say, picture, you've got your AVID guy up in the corner. Okay, the middle is your AVID school-wide, impacting all, providing that culture of college and career readiness, improving academic performance of our students, and giving teachers and students a common language to speak instructionally. On one of our hands, we have the AVID Elective as a support for our students who need it. The other hand, we have Excel for our English language learners who need that support. And that really makes up the whole little AVID guy up in the corner. So I want to give you just a quick rundown of some big celebrations. I know that Higher was here earlier in the year. Lowell is coming tomorrow, and the kids already told me, don't tell them about this. And I'm like, okay, I'll let you talk tomorrow. So some of the big impact we've seen at elementary is, first off, with organization. So Higher and Lowell are 2 schools who've been really diving into AVID practices this year. Both have worked a lot on organizing with their students, making sure that it's not only physical and digital organization, but the cognitive organization as well. Another, you can see up there on the screen, we have a 2nd grader's focus notes that she was doing when she was doing some inquiry work. Students not only are taking these notes, but if you see in some of the pictures, they're starting to really use them and interact. So they're not just, hey, take notes and throw them in your backpack or your folder. Why are we taking the notes? What's the learning purpose? How do we use them and continue to learn that information? And then you'll see an example of with core strategies being practiced at the elementary. That's a parallel line. Students are using their notes and they're having a discussion moving down those lines based off of what they uncovered from their note-taking. And then lastly, something that's a little different, I think, for some of our schools this year is just that culture of college and career readiness. We are not saying to our elementary students, you all have to go to college. We are saying, here's an opportunity for you. This is what it looks like. Here's some great careers you might be interested in. Here's some paths, and teachers have been showcasing that in their classrooms. Middle school this year, Les Paul and Butler launched with an AVID elective, their very first AVID electives. Les Paul at the 7th grade, Butler at 8th grade level. Middle school has heavily been focused in on implementing that AVID elective with fidelity, making sure that we're running tutorials, making sure that our students are getting what they need in that AVID elective. In terms of school-wide, Les Paul's had a big push on collaboration, and we just completed our last AVID school-wide walk at Les Paul, and it was very evident when we walked into classrooms that collaboration, which is part of their theory of action, we saw it happening intentionally. Butler focused in on focus note taking, so their whole staff was learning this year about focus note. There's an example from one of the dual language classrooms of how they set up a 3-column note. In terms of high school, one thing I wanted to mention about middle school. Sometimes we worry about our students persisting in AVID. Right now, for our 7th to 8th graders, we have 17 out of 23 are going into AVID next year. Those who are not going into AVID as 8th graders, when we asked them the reason why, it was they wanted more elective options. And then we said, well, would you consider going back to AVID next year? Or not next year, but when you enter high school and have more choices for electives? The answer was yes. In terms of our 8th graders going on to high school, we have all but 3 students going into high school AVID. So for the first year, I personally feel that's a really good number of students choosing to be part of AVID for that second year, because it is a commitment on the students' part. They are pushed hard. They are told you are going to be a leader and held to those high expectations. Our high schools, our focus this year was not only getting our electives up and running at West and then our new class at North, but looking school-wide at the practices. So what I like about these two pictures is you see a very similar setup. You see one AVID elective class, it's actually on your right at West High School, where students are engaged into the tutorial process and inquiry. You see on your left-hand side a co-taught algebra class at Waukesha North, where students are working in collaborative study groups. Students are doing the work, the teachers are the facilitators, they're walking around, they're really coaching, and then here we have kids digging in. So those practices that you see in the AVID elective are transferring through a lot of professional development, also bringing along teachers to see those different practices through some learning walks into our non-AVID elective classes, so making an impact school-wide. That's also represented up here when it comes to focus notes. You have an AVID elective student on the left. Okay, these are Julia's notes, and you can tell she's really interacted with these notes, used them multiple times, and revisited. On the right-hand side, you have a student over at North High School, and I was flipping through just some work, and I said, can I take a picture of these notes because these look fantastic? So a non-AVID elective student. And you will see this whether you go to North, South, West, and even over at East. So it's something that our students are finding value in. They're taking them on paper, digitally. It's really what works best for them. A little bit of longitudinal data, because for so many of our schools, this is year one. It's hard to pull a ton of data. However, data that we do gather, each February, each of our schools completes a site report where we look at things like AP participation, teachers trained, attendance rates. We are finding that our AVID schools, our AVID elective students are attending a percentage point more than our non-AVID elective students, so that's showing some increased engagement from those AVID elective students. We also have a CCI, a coaching and certification instrument, that each school completes in fall, and then they complete and submit at the end of May. So they choose areas that they want to focus in on. We can measure those by our AVID school-wide walks, as well as school walkthrough tools, and all of those are connected to their theory of action and sales. So it's, it's working nicely together. Something that we're really excited about, if you look at our increase in AP classes taken. So this is from 2011 to 2017. So you see a red line through the bottom. The proportional representation means that so this is Waukesha South. The natural increase is 272% of students taking AP exams, which is a great increase. But then if you look at our Hispanic population taking AP exams it has increased by 816% from 2011 to 2017. And then you look at our African American students, 183% increase, and overall our students of color, 560%. So when we talk about impacting all of our learners, this is exciting for us to see. So then we dug deeper and said, okay, so we know that more kids are taking the test, but are they actually scoring a 3 or better on the test? So we started to break it down from last year. This is one of the data measures that's on our school AVID site report. And it asks you to report your students who took at least one AP or Project Lead the Way course in terms of AVID students and school-wide. So when you look at Waukesha South, you are seeing that our AVID elective students are taking, on the left-hand side, the first column, they are taking more AP classes than our students school-wide at Waukesha South. For example, our 9th graders, there were 56% of 9th graders took an AP class. Of AVID students, 27% of South students took that AP class. You actually had 100% of our AVID students pass that with a 3 or better, and 73 of our 9th graders. So our AVID students really are outperforming in those AP. Our 12th graders, 64% pass rate versus a 65% pass rate. So I got curious and said, well, what does North look like? So North current 11th graders, last year's 10th grade class, 52% of AVID students took an AP course, 43 of them had a 3 or better, versus 35% of the school. North school-wide did outperform those AVID students, but remember that was year 1 of AVID for them. So just some interesting longitudinal data. Another celebration that when we look at our site data report is how are we able to impact these students, where you saw those strategies at the high school looking similar from non-AVID elective to AVID elective courses and focus notes. It is truly with professional learning for our staff members. Right now you can see up here that we are hitting a point where many of our teachers are trained. And we're working to build capacity in our district. We trained some leaders today at one of the principals' meetings on how they can be using the AVID practices when they're delivering professional learning. I recently went and did some training, and we'll be able to bring one of the AVID paths here to Waukesha, so that's a cost savings for us. There is nothing that replaces the, I think, experience and just overall impact of sending a teacher to an AVID Summer Institute that is 3 days of fully intensive learning. They come back able to implement right into their classroom and just really excited. But we know that it's not possible to get everyone there, and that's why we are committed to building our capacity here as a district. We would love for you to continue your learning around AVID, so there's 3 opportunities for you. The first is to come on over and talk with our senior class at South. 100% of these kids in the picture have been accepted into college. Many are first in their families to attend college or even graduate high school. Please come meet them. They'll tell you all about AVID and their plans. That's Monday, May 20th from 12:50 to 1:30. We'll have someone at the welcome desk at South to greet you and bring you up. AVID Summer Institute, it is free for you to attend. There's a 1-day workshop where you can learn how the system, how all 4 pillars work together to increase student achievement. If you're interested, there's a flyer in your packet, just let me know. And then finally, one of our high schools will be showcasing next spring to not just Waukesha, but outside visitors. AVID Center is recognizing the great work that we're doing here in Waukesha and wants to have other districts come see what we are doing. So that's it.
Let me just add for the other board members, the May 20th thing, and I've tried in the past most Mays to get over to South High School to see those kids before they graduate, and visiting with them for half an hour is just very positive. It just feels so good about what we've done with those kids. And so if you get a chance to do that, do it. And we had a showcase this year at North.
We did.
That was really interesting. And I don't know where the next one's going to be, but is it North again?
It will be either North or South. Both of those schools are currently applying to be sites of distinction. So it is extremely challenging to be a site of distinction. The metrics are harder, I would say, than even being a national demonstration school. So they are very close. Will know late May if they truly meet all of the metrics.
So again, if you get the opportunity to see what goes on at that, it's really worth it. Well, I got you. A question or two. Are we applying AVID at eAchieve?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see anything up here about that. Is it?
So in our high schools, eAchieve runs 9th through 12th grade. eAchieve actually presented this year at AVID's national conference about how they're using AVID in a digital world.
Yes.
Our students are doing really well. We have a whole presentation that I could share with you too. It's recorded if you'd like. But students are finding that AVID is a place where they feel, they said kind of it's their safe place. It's a place where they can connect with not only their teacher, but peers around them.
But this would be connecting with them even though they may be in a different city. Okay,
because where a lot of eAchieve is you can do it all on your time. AVID is, we've said that the tutorials won't work that way, so they do get together once a week where they are face-to-face.
Yeah.
And it doesn't look that different online to face-to-face. It's the similar structures that are still in place.
Great. Okay, Amanda or Greg, you got something you want to ask? This is really interesting stuff.
Yes. So this is the second time tonight we've heard collaborative, relational, safe place. Why isn't this being applied district-wide?
We are moving towards that. So our secondary schools will all be AVID schools as of next year. And then we have a plan to roll down to our elementary schools. So next year we'll have 5 of our elementary schools on board. And I think we also do a lot of our AVID practices without having the AVID name attached.
Great. I get more and more excited about it as my kids get older or get to the levels that it's at. And at this point, I can force them to be into it. But I know once they actually get there, but if it's going to be applied, I know it's baby steps and seeing how it works at the different levels. But I'm glad to hear that it's being implemented district-wide.
Thank you.
So that would be the goal then, to implement it district-wide? Eventually,
yeah.
right.
It's going to be, I mean, like everything costs money and time. And really to implement well, when we talk about those teachers trained, that's the key. Because we can't just say, okay, we're going to do this.
Right.
And if we don't have the training behind us, it will fall.
Support, exactly.
Yep.
How about any challenges that you're facing?
Yes, there's lots of challenges that we face on a daily basis. I would say one of our biggest challenges at the secondary level is making sure that we have enough tutors to help out in our AVID elective classes. Another challenge is just at the rate we're growing, making sure that we can offer the support. Next year we'll have 12 new AVID elective and AVID Excel teachers. So making sure that we have the coaching capacity to help all of those teachers do the best they can as they implement something new.
And then tell me a little bit more about the tutors.
So the tutors are anyone from a college tutor to an adult volunteer who come in and they work with our students. They do not need to have any content background. They just need to know how to ask good questions, and we train them to do that. So Diane Voigt, she actually comes to Les Paul once a week and helps and volunteers out. We have volunteered and paid positions. And if you're ever interested in being a tutor, you know where to find me.
Good. Thank you very much.
You're moving from 9 up another year or so to 13. You said that'll be about halfway. What's the, how to put this? The teachers that are in the non-AVID schools, are they interested? Are they excited? Are they pulling to get into it?
I get a lot of emails saying, hey, can you tell me more about this or that, which I always take as a great sign. I know that when we talk about our elementaries, we had 2 this year, and our 3 next year who are coming aboard are very excited. So it's something that's being seen in a positive light. I think people are always a little fearful when something new comes on, but but after day 1 of that training, they come together in the room, and the reaction has been, oh, this makes sense. This is what we already do, but like all the pieces are put together. So for a lot of people, they say it becomes kind of their plate, and they have all their what's, and AVID gives them that how.
Else?
Just amazing work on your part and your leadership and, the work of a lot of people together making a huge difference. So thank you very much for everything you're putting into this program.
It's been wonderful to work with such great leaders on all ends, from our teachers to our district office. When everyone believes in something common, I know we're going to make some great student achievement gains. So thank you guys for your support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Got it right that time.
3rd time's a charm.
All right. That gets us through all the listed items other than other business. If there's something that you want as a recommendation for a future committee meeting that you want to share, either with us or get it to Jody. Okay, we're all set? Other is needed, and anything else somebody has to bring up? No? Okay. Then we are finished, and our next meeting would be June 4th, same time, same place. Thank you.